Welcome to Banner 9 Roadmap. My name is Nader Khalil, and I'm the team manager of the CUTS implementation team in IT application, where we will be taking on the implementation of Banner 9. And I'm joined today with Stirling, IT specialist in IT application, and he works in the CUTS implementation team as well. So we have a very good information today that we will share with you. Please feel free to ask us any questions during the presentation, and we'll cover a bunch of information that it will be useful for everyone in here. We'll do overview of Banner 9 and Banner 8, what is the difference between the main functionality differences between them, and we're gonna drill down into some of the technical stuff that we need to share with you today. By showing hands, how many people sitting in this room coming from the functional team? Functional. You're functional? You're functional? And you're functional?
Departmental offices like enrollment management or finance or
Okay, cool.
registrars. Yeah.
Awesome.
If you're non-technical, you're functional. We call you guys functional.
There you go.
It's a good word.
How about staff? Staff. Fantastic. Okay. Awesome. How about student? Fantastic. A student? Okay. Awesome. All right, so how many of you actually know that we are coming up with Banner 9, which is kind of a new implementation / upgrade of Banner 8? Are you guys aware of it? Have we met with you? Not yet, maybe? Okay, okay. We'll go over that in a little bit. So I want to give you an idea of what we have right now in Banner 9. Banner is, the enterprise system that we use, provided by the vendor. Lucian is the vendor. They used to be called the SunGuard a long time ago. Now they changed it to Lucian. And we have architecture design of what we are using Banner and how we are using it right now. And basically, this is kind of like a high-level view of how we are using Banner right now, which is Banner 9. For those of you actually using Banner every day, you go and authenticate through this in here. And then once you log in, you have two different options. You have the self-service and you have the Banner admin. The Banner admin, we call it the IMB forms. Like that's why I called for functional team. The functional team, they are familiar with it. And when I said student or staff, usually you are using the self-service. It's where you go and check your balance, annual leave, your base stop, and so forth, so on. So this is a system that we have in here. And as you can see, there's a common ground, which is the database hosting both section or both kind of modules, right, within Banner itself. So this is what we have right now in Banner 8. Banner 9, it's a little bit different, but as you can see, we still have the same Banner database, the same architecture of Banner. So we're not completely coming up with a new application. We still have the information that you go to on a daily basis and access. It will be presented to you in a different format. This is kind of a high level, and we're gonna dig deep in a little bit. But as you can see, the same thing, the same distinction between admin and self-service. And then we had at the top of it, Application Navigator. Application Navigator is the gate to Banner 9. Once we move to Banner 9. But before we move to Banner 9, because it will take us about roughly 2 years to be able to move from Banner 8 to Banner 9. So what we will do during the process, Application Navigator, basically it will be the gate for both Banner 8 and Banner 9. You will go, and we have a nice screenshot of it, and maybe Stirling will demo how we can access tables in Banner 9 and Banner 8 once we get to this. But it will be the gate, basically. And you will have a few options, as we're gonna mention later in the slides. You have two options. You can go and access Banner 8 the way you are doing it right now as of today, or maybe use Application Navigator. Or by then we'll be moving to Banner 9, so you will only be using the Application Navigator to access your table /form. But as you can see, so you don't get panic about, it's going to be a totally different architecture, the table will change in the future. None of that will happen, because since we have the same back end when it comes to the database, so everything is very much, it will be the same. same tables, the same fields. Maybe we'll add new features, but that will come later on. How they coexist, as I mentioned, Application Navigator, once you authenticate, and we have different ways of authenticating to the system. Once you authenticate, then you will hit Application Navigator. And then you will have the choice to go and type your table name, and the system will recognize if it's a banner 8 or banner 9. How it will happen, then we have like a set of configuration in the back end where we tell the system, actually, we will tell Application Navigator that, oh, this form, we haven't converted this form yet to banner 9, so go ahead and go to the banner 8 version of it. And all of that, it will happen in the background. You don't have even to worry about it. Again, this is how it will exist moving forward. And once we are done with implementation, I call it implementation, and some people, they call it upgrade, because you can see it's 8 and then we're going to move to 9. It's more than just an upgrade. It's a little bit complex, and we're going to show you exactly how it will be implemented and how we are approaching that. Okay, so as I mentioned, we have self-service and we have the admin pages, right? What's coming in Banner 9, we have new functionalities. The look and feel of it, it will be a little bit different. For those of you actually using Banner 8, downloading Java and the applet that you need to download in your desktop, all of that, we'll get rid of it. And it will be a web-based. They are using totally, technology in Banner 9 based on HTML5. If you guys are familiar with this terminology, you don't have to. But they are using web technology where, as the way you are accessing your Hotmail account, you will go to a browser, type a URL, then boom, you will get to your inbox. It will be very much the same in Banner 9. You will go and we'll give you a URL, and it will be in the self-service. We'll promote that, and we'll communicate the URL and everything with you once the time comes. You will go to the URL, type the URL, navigate to your app Navigator. Once you authenticate, you will access Banner, and boom, you can access Banner 8 or Banner 9 accordingly. What's new in Banner 9? So as I mentioned, the look and feel, it will be a little bit different. It's handheld devices enabled, meaning that if you have a mobile or iPad that you are using to access the web service, like your grades, for example, if you are a student, the base tab and so forth, so on, it will adjust accordingly because they use the responsive technology, which is a responsive CSS for the technical people sitting in the room. But this is new feature, and it's really important, especially for the students. Most of them right now, they don't carry a desktop or a laptop with them. They do carry the laptop, but more efficient, they will be carrying the mobile device. So they will be able to log in, see exactly what class they have, and it's a nice way of communicating with the students, especially the students. We have different modules, employee self-service and communication management. I want to mention that in Banner, we use the word module for every single application, basically. Like finance, we have the finance module. For students, we have the self-service for student module. We have the course catalog module, and so forth, so on. So we have new modules in Banner 9 that it will help us, and it will help the functional team actually to communicate with the students, staff, and the functional team based on some queries that they will be working on in here in the communication management module. The employee profile, as we're going to mention later today, we already went live with a structured version of it in production, and we will explain it a little bit more in details once we come to that slide. But the way that everyone will be interacting with Banner is going to be a little bit different moving forward once we implement Banner 9. And I hope it will be more efficient and actually intuitive for you to start using Banner 9. Again, we have new tools in Banner 9. The way we interact with Banner, I don't know, in Banner 8, it's very difficult to write a custom page to interact with Banner. And if we do that, usually we'll call it mod. a mod, like modifications, right? And it's very hard to maintain the mods, especially while you are doing the upgrades in the future. But Banner 9 give us some good tools like Page Builder and Theme Editor to start, applying, look and feel for the whole modules that we have in one single place. The Elysium Solution Manager, the ESM, it's basically a way of downloading the modules from Banner and any upgrades. And we do it once by directing that system to the different environments that we have. And it's a very nice tool that they provided us actually in Banner 9, where it will check for all the dependencies that we have to be able, or we need to have in place to be able to migrate or upgrade to the next module. Do you guys have any questions so far? Okay. Again, I'm going to switch to Stirling. He's going to go in details about self-service versus admin. Okay.
You know what?
You don't need it?
I'm going to hang out here.
Okay, cool.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Stirling Crow. I'm a support specialist within IT applications here at UNM. I'm on Nader's team, which is the COTS implementation team. We kind of stand up new systems here at UNM. So we've kind of given you guys just a very high-level overview. We've kind of told you about a lot of the things that are coming your way. But we'd like to now show you. We'd like to get down to the trenches, down to the weeds, and kind of show you what all this stuff really means for you. So real quick, just help remind me. Raise your hand if you are technical. Just want to see. Okay. Now raise your hand if you are non-technical and if you are in Banner every single day. Let me see. Show of hands. Perfect. Okay. Fantastic. Great. So. Nope, it's still on. It's still on. I think it just loses its connection or something. Whoa. It might be an issue with the electrical outlet down here. It might not be an issue with the cart. It might be an issue with the.
There you go.
Or it's probably the projector itself.
Yeah.
Well, they eat up really fast.
Ah.
Is it coming up?
Technical difficulties. Even technical people deal with technical difficulties.
Can you check to see if they have a new projector? Yeah.
My laptop's great, yeah.
I can carry the laptop. Yeah, here you go. There you go. Okay, good. Okay, good. Is it
I'm
frozen?
just going to bring it over. Look at this guy.
There you go. Okay. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. I can help you with this.
Would you mind just like forwarding it?
Yeah, there you go.
Sorry, folks. Here we go. So, one of the big things we want to talk to you about is you've probably heard a lot about Banner 9. You've probably heard a lot about Banner XC. Banner XC, Banner 9, same thing. They're the same thing. Back in 2013, Elysium, the vendor that makes Banner, they started calling the new version of Banner, Banner 9. And then in 2014, their marketing department came in and said, let's call it something cool. Let's call it Banner XC. That's got a cool ring to it. Extensible ecosystem. And then in 2016, they changed it back to Banner 9. So if you've heard of Banner XE, if you've heard of Banner 9, it's all the same thing. And it's now being, its official name is Banner 9. So next slide, please. So let's, if you guys have heard about Banner 9, we really want you to walk away from this presentation understanding that Banner 9 is just not one thing. It's a couple of things. It's a few things, okay? But before we can truly understand that, let's talk about the world that we live in today. Let's talk about current state. So Banner today, as it exists, we have Banner self-service. So this right here is Banner 8 self-service. That right there, that's just the title of this section where it says Banner 9 self-service. Don't pay attention to that. This is Banner 8 self-service. And you guys are familiar with this because this is where we as staff go to check our leave balances. If you're a student, if you're going to register for classes, you go in here. Our rebranding of Banner 8 self-service is LoboWeb. So LoboWeb is Banner 8 self-service. But all of this stuff connects to the same database. So this is the student tab within Banner 8 self-service. Next slide, please. This is the employee tab of Banner 8 self-service, where we go to check our leave balances and stuff. Next slide. Let's talk about, okay, so the functionality. So the functionality within Banner 8 self-service, that's the place where our students, they all go to register. If we want to update our direct deposit, we go into Banner 8 self-service. All of that functionality is being recreated as different web applications, and they're calling those web applications Banner 9 self-service. So for example, that tab, when students go into the student tab and they click on register for classes and stuff, all the functionality for registration is being recreated as a separate application being called Banner 9 registration. It's actually its own thing. Most of the functionality in the employee tab, where we go for all of our employee stuff, that is actually being created as a separate application called employee self-service. You would think that they would take everything within that student tab that's currently in Banner 8 self-service, and they would recreate it and they would call it Banner 9 student self-service, right? It's not a one-to-one relationship. So some of the stuff that's in that student tab will be recreated as a separate application, like Banner 9 registration. The place where faculty go to enter their grades, that's going to be a separate application. There's going to be a separate application called Student Academic History. There's another one called Student Profile. That's not up here. There's one that's going to be called Banner 9 Time Entry that we're interested in. But these are all separate applications that are going to have that self-service functionality in it, and it's Banner 9 self-service. Another one of these Banner 9 self-service applications is called Application Navigator, and this is going to play a role in all of our lives. Okay, but just want you guys to understand the distinction between Banner 8 self-service and Banner 9 self-service. Right, next slide, please. Here's an example of employee self-service, what it looks like. As you can see, you log in, you can only kind of see your annual leave and hours, along with your job description. But this is just a quick screenshot. It's not showing you everything in it, but this is kind of like the look and feel that these new self-service applications will have. Next slide. I think the next one is a slide of registration. Yeah, and this is just a screenshot of what the new registration self-service application will look like. Okay. Up here, you've got the classes after a student has searched for stuff, and then they click on add, and it goes into this little kind of shopping cart, and then they click on submit, and then they're registered for their class. So as you can see, the look and feel, it's more modern. Doesn't look like something from the late 90s, right? And so that's what's coming our way. All right, next slide, please.
I just want to highlight very quick. As you can see, it's totally different interface. Now the students actually will get the error on page right away in here once the class is full, or once the wait list is full. All the error messages that they will get maybe after, now they are getting it on page. And they call this area the student planner, where they can add all the classes, and once the registration opens for them to register, boom, they will click submit, and then all the classes will be submitted. So that's a new enhancement in here in Banner 9.
So just a clarification, when we're talking about all of this, keep in mind that Banner 8 self-service, what we call Loba Web, it connects to the database. All of these other applications, registration 9.5, employee self-service, from the screenshots that we just showed you, those are also connecting to the same database. So these are not completely different systems. They're all connecting to the same place, pulling from the same data, okay? Just a clarification. All right, next slide, please. All right, so when is everything going to be turned into Banner 9 self-service? When is all that functionality that's currently in Loba Web going to be brought into these new Banner 9 self-service applications? And the answer is, we don't know. There's no strict deadline on the vendor for having to move everything over from the current Banner 8 self-service. I mean, right now, things work. Everybody can get into the Banner 8 self-service into Loba Web because it's all web-based, right? And you can access the stuff whether or not you're on Internet Explorer or Firefox or Chrome. So there's no true deadline that the vendor has to meet to bring over all that functionality. But again, that's just for self-service. INB, that's a different story. All right, so next slide. So we're going to talk about Banner 9 admin application that's coming our way. So most of you guys, you log into what you call Banner, okay? And this is not the same thing as Loba Web. This is not a web application, right? You have to have Java installed on your computer to bring up this application. So, next slide, please. So this is called Banner by most of us. Us technical folks call it INB. And so the true name of it is called Internet Native Banner. So when you hear me talking about INB, I'm talking about this thing, okay? All right, next slide. So Banner 8 INB forms, you've got all of these different areas. You've got the student area, the student module, the finance module, FinAid, HR, payroll, accounts receivable in general, all within INB. All right, next slide. So that technology, it's called Oracle Forms. Oracle has said we are going to stop supporting that by December 2018. So the vendor, next slide please. The vendor put out a statement and they said, guess what guys? As of December 31st, 2018, all of the functionality within INB, because the technology, the underlying technology is Oracle Forms, will go into what's called sustaining support. And what that means is they're not going to be creating any new upgrades. They're not going to be doing any new patches for any of this. So what does that mean for us? So the vendor, their name is Illusion. They have recreated all of the forms that exist within INB, and they've webified those forms. The new Banner 9 web application that those forms are going to be found in is called Banner 9 Admin. That's what we're calling it. You might have also heard of it called Admin Forms, Transfer Forms, Java Forms. The marketing department at Illusion does not do a good job, in my opinion. So Banner 9 Admin, that's what we're talking about. Okay. So this is an example of what things are going to look like in the new paradigm, in our new world. So this is Suggestion. This is an example of the Suggestion form. It's laid out very similar to what you're currently used to using in the Banner 8, version of INB. You've got person's information up here, term information up here, and then you have the tabs in Banner 8 INB up here, and this likewise has the same tabs. Whenever you do a next block, that's going to be your start over, or it's going to say go, and that's how you're going to get into this section. And then, I'm sorry, this down here, this area right here is going to be your next block, or go back a block, your rollback stuff, okay? All right, next slide, please. So the Banner 9 Admin, it has all of the following modules. It has a new one called Admin Common that you're probably not going to be too concerned about because it's more for us techie tech folks. But human resources and payroll have been bundled up into this thing. Position control, AR, student finance, financial aid, general. Illusion actually delivered all of this at the end of last year. They made a promise to their customers that they would deliver it all. There are schools that have gone live with this. For the most part, we've heard good things. it sounds like they are still working through some of the forms. Some of the forms have not come over quite the way that they should. There are some performance issues. It's our hope that when we install these and make them available, that the more recent versions will have eliminated those performance problems. We'll see. All right. From a technical point of view, for those in the room that are interested in the technical piece of all this, keep in mind that when we have the Banner 9 registration self-service application, that is a separate application. Originally, when we were moving forward with the Banner 9 admin forms that are replacing the Banner 8 IMB forms, we thought that we were going to have a separate application for each module. For example, we thought we were going to have a Banner 9 student admin application, Banner 9 financial aid admin application, Banner 9 HR admin application. That's not quite how this works. What happens is there's a tool that the vendor has called Illusion Solution Manager, and it downloads everything, all these new upgrades from Illusion's website. So it's going to download the student version 9.x, financial aid version 9.x, all these, and then it bundles them up all into one file, and then we end up deploying that one file, and that one file is basically the application. It has all the functionality for these found in it. So that's how all of this works from a technical perspective. Again, the Banner 9 admin forms and the Banner 8 IMB forms are connecting to the same database. Okay? In fact, you could be in a Banner 8 form, you could be in the same Banner version of that form in Banner 9, and you're going to be pulling from the same data. Why do I have Application Navigator up here? Application Navigator is a it's a web application that's going to be the gateway to get to your Banner 9 forms. All right, next slide, please. So, I already started to talk about it. So, Application Navigator, it is actually a self-service application, but it's the gateway. Next slide. So, Nader, I'm just going to jump in. I'd like folks to actually see this in action. So, we stood this up in our sandbox environment. So here we go. So this is what it's going to look like. You will log into this application, and this is going to be your gateway. So you'd come over here, and you would type in the name of your form. So if we want to go to Spading, it'll pop up. The other thing is if new folks, if we hire new people, and they don't know the 7 character names of our, of our forms, they won't have to know them because they can just, let's see, so general person identification. I think I can just type general person identification and Spading will come up. Anyways, so you'd select this and it's going to bring up Spading. I'm going to type in my information. I'm going to click go. And then we've got my information up here. Address. So again, very similar to the current layout, but as you can see, it's all been webified. If I want to click on Start Over, same thing as Rollback. Just click on that, brings me back here. I can close out this, or I can just click on a new search here. If I want to go to RAP Award, which is financial aid form, it's going to take me there. I choose the aid year, ID, and I click Go. And it brings me into RAP Award. And I'm not a student, so I don't have any loans awarded to myself. So this is what it looks like when you first log in. Let me go back to the slideshow. Is your clicker still working?
Yep.
Okay. So next slide, please. Next slide. So to review, in the Banner 8 side, we have our forms. We call everything here IMB, and it requires Java, right? And the technology that it's based on is Oracle Forms. As you guys just learned, that's all going away at the end of 2018. So the new version of all that is called Banner 9 Admin. Contains all the forms does not require Java on your computer. Yes. The technology behind that is called Frames and Foundation. In regards to self-service functionality, which we currently call Lobo Web, things like registration and employee self-service are being recreated as separate applications. Banner 9 registration, Banner 9 employee self-service. The technology behind these is called Grails, whereas the technology behind these things are PL SQL web pages. So, next slide. And I think, Nader, this is you.
All right. Do you guys have any questions so far? Is it clear or, yeah, go ahead.
Is it going to be similar visually to like Lobo Web?
It's going to be a little bit different. Lobo Web, it's still Banner 8. We're going to have a similar version or the equivalent of Lobo Web, but in the Banner 9 land. So the enhancement of the look and feel, you will notice that when we move forward. Any other questions? Yeah, please.
Will we be able to access it from home?
So the question is, you guys will be able to access it from home. The way you are having it right now in Banner 8, where sometimes you log into the VPN and access it, it will be very much the same moving forward. As I mentioned, the database is going to be the same. The security is going to be very much the same. So the way you are accessing it right now is going to be the same in the future in Banner 9.
We won't need the Java.
Exactly, exactly. You don't have to worry about the Java, update the Java, and the conflicts with different Javas, because the Java's versions, because if you have different roles in the organization, for example, if you approve time cards, you have to have a certain version of Java. But then Banner 8 also, they need a specific version of Java as well. So all of that will go away, hopefully, very soon. Any other questions before we move on? Yeah, go ahead.
Are you guys going to roll it out all at once, or there's certain phases that we can roll out?
So well,
That-
we are going to get into the
Yeah,
details of that.
that's a very
Give
good
us a
question.
second. Let's, if we can, since we lost a lot of time
Yeah.
at the beginning of this, guys. Let's save the questions for afterwards.
Okay, awesome. But I just want to make sure that you guys are not so confused, because we're going to go and present other information as well. So we started back in 2013, and we talked about Banner 9 and how we're going to move forward. That's why the vendor actually, they had different version of it, different names of it. It was Banner XE, then Banner 9, and then they switched versions and such. So we started actively working on Banner 9 back in 2015. And the plan to roll out, and you will see it in our roadmap in a little bit, hopefully by the end of 2018. It might bleed into 2019, but we will adjust the roadmap accordingly. And there's one question that I want to ask you guys, because I have met with different offices to discuss that business cycles, because we have a few factors actually to roll out Banner 9. One of them is the business cycle for each office. And the other factor is the upgrades in Banner 8, because we cannot deploy a module in Banner 9 without the dependencies in Banner 8. So if you haven't met with me, please reach out after the presentation. I will give you my card, and then we can schedule some time to meet and to see what is the business cycle for your office. I'm talking about the core offices in here in UNM and the branch campuses. And does it make sense? Any questions so far? Yeah, go ahead. The talent management system, basically it's UNM Job 2.0. So I'm going to go over this. So what we have right now, we deployed in production Employee Self-Service 9.2, which is kind of a prerequisite for implementing the talent management system, which is the UNM Jobs 2.0. You guys been noticing differences between the interface between the old UNM Jobs and the new ones. So we need to have the Employee Self-Service in a restricted mode, meaning that we're going to roll it out in 2018. So this is kind of restricted only for HR compensation. And just to let you know, we have different environments. So we have production. I'm going to mention it like, the way they should hear it, not Ben I and Ben D.
Sure.
So it will be, familiar to any terminologies that you have. So we have production environment, we have test environment, we have development environment for us. And then we came up with the sandbox. And we exposed that sandbox environment to the functional team. It's not a new technology that we have or a new environment. We used to have it for us to start playing with the modules, the new modules, but now we're exposing that sandbox to the functional as well, so they can start playing with the modules. And then once they get familiar with it, then we'll start moving it to different environment. So we have the employee self-service, back to that. And as I mentioned, we're gonna go campus-wide or enterprise-wide in the spring of 2018. We have the communication management module, which is a brand new module in Banner in general. They didn't have it in Banner 8. And right now we have it in development. And the financial aid office actually showed interest on using that module. And we'll introduce it to the rest of the campus once we get it stable in production. What else we have? We have the ASM module, which is a crucial module for us to download all the modules in Banner 9. So we have it in our, I believe in Sandbox, right? Or in development.
ESM is a tool that our DBAs use, and there's just one instance of it, and it communicates with the development environment, our integration environment, our production environment, and our sandbox environment, and it handles the upgrades it can handle the upgrades for all of them. Correct.
Okay. And we have App Navigator, and it's in our sandbox. We have other modules, the admin modules, actually it's in the sandbox. Again, as I mentioned, we are allowing the functional team to go and play with it and tell us, what kind of experience that they are having. And then once they do that, then we'll get a good idea of when we're gonna move it to different environments. The focus moving forward, and my first priority right now is to focus on registration. The version that we're gonna go live with, registration 9.5. And hopefully we'll go live with it in November 2017, this year. And Stirling will go a little bit deeper in the registration module. The roadmap. So the way we came up with the roadmap, it was a little bit intense because I have a team of project manager, business analyst, technical lead, and another technical lead. So we go and visit with we visited with every office around campus to adjust the roadmap according to the business cycle for each office. And also, there's a big factor actually that we are considering moving forward, which is mods. Mods stands for modifications. All the stuff that we did to our Banner I and B forms. And we're gonna go over it in more details in a little bit. All right, we met with every one of this office in here. We got the people from different branches. Anyone from branch campuses in here? Okay, cool. I met with you guys, right? No, not yet? I met with the core functional team, actually, from registration, financial aid, and so they came to IT about like a few weeks ago, and we start talking about their business cycles and such. But make sure that we will get you involved as we go, because it's very crucial to get everyone in here on the same page as the people in IT application. I mentioned the mods, and we have two different kinds of mods. Mods that we did to the baseline of the form itself, and mods that Lucian actually did, working with us. And to get rid of them, it's not an easy job. It's so intense, because the main reason of coming up with a mod is basically you're adding features to Banner that it doesn't exist right now, or it didn't exist, and you're adding that feature to adjust your kind of business process. So to get rid of that, it's a little bit tough, because one of our main goal to go to take it with us to Banner 9 land is to go vanilla, basically, to use the functionalities that the vendor actually giving us and adjust our business process according to the module, not the other way around. So that's a shift in the thinking, and it's a shift on how people are doing business right now. Okay, go ahead.
We originally thought the vanilla version is what we were told as staff, so what happened?
No. When we did our implementation 10 years ago, there were modifications that we had the vendor come in and implement for us. So it wasn't totally vanilla.
Yeah.
No.
So we have one example, actually, mod 3 in registration, and Stirling will hopefully highlight on that mod 3. So, yeah, we contracted with the vendor, and they came and we did mod 3, and it triggered mod 4, and so it's kind of like a domino effect, you know. Once we do, yeah, go ahead.
When you were listing the areas you've spoken with, I didn't notice finance. Isn't finance?
We talked to finance, absolutely. We went and we visited with Norma and Natalia in finance. They are budget and finance. And we talked to Adam Week as well. Yeah, Adam Week, I told him who's the head of finance, and he said, yeah, he can be the one. Are you guys from finance? Okay, cool. No? What up?
Music.
Music? Okay, cool. But anyway, we will make sure that we will meet with every office, and we're going to go more in details when it comes to the registration module in a little bit. So we did our homework, and we found out a bunch of mods in here for each office. And we listed the ones actually that we're going to go first when it comes to deployment in Banner 9 according to that column in here. So as you can see, financial aid, they don't have any mods. And they implemented that module, what, about 10 years ago or so? So that will be our plan, to review the mods that we have for each office and kind of like work with them to be able to get rid of it. We submitted the forms that we have with the mods to Lucian, and they asked us to add more information to estimate how much it will take to be able to convert all the IMB forms to Banner 9. I'm going to rush a little bit because we're And we came up with this roadmap. This roadmap, it took us a little bit of time to come up with because, again, we met with different offices, and we're still actually meeting with other offices as well. And you can see 3 lanes in that page. The first yellow, lane up there, it's basically the foundation that we need to have in Banner 9 to be able to deploy all the modules, right? We mentioned the ESM. Oops. We mentioned the ESM. We have Application Navigator, and the Eclipse IDE, basically it's a tool that we need to have in place to be able to develop in Banner 9. And we have that guy, which is, I believe that will take us another session to be able to go over it. ETOS Identity Service, which is a kind of way of enhancing the way that we will be storing information in the future, but that should be a different session. And then the admin lane in here. So when we met with Adam Week, we talked about finance and said just listed there. But again, we met with Norma, Alan, and Natalia to be able to adjust the timeline and how and when they will be busy and available for us to be able to be engaged with us to do the testing and so forth, so on. So as you can see, we went live with this guy in here for the TMS project. Communication management, still, we're working on it, and probably we'll do another upgrade to be able to get some of the issues that we have in this version 9.2. And we are adjusting this tentative roadmap. I might add more resources into the deployment of Banner 9, so we might work on different modules. We're not gonna only have Stirling working on these guys in here. We'll have other people in the team to help with us deploying Banner 9. You can talk about mods, or I mentioned the mods, and there's 2 different types of mods: the custom mods and the baseline mods that Lucian actually came and helped us developing. So I mentioned financial aid. That's why we want to go live with financial aid very soon, because it will be for us like a low-hanging fruit. They don't have mods, and they have streamlined the business process. The only challenge with that is the business cycle. We missed the business cycle this year, so hopefully next year that will target the business cycle for them to be able to deploy the financial aid module. The AR and the HR modules, including the position controls and such, we listed that in the roadmap, as you can see in here, and we'll be targeting that early next year.
Okay.
Roll out.
All right.
Okay.
How much time do we have?
About 5 minutes.
About 5 minutes. All right. So what does this mean for you guys? When do you guys get to start using these new Banner 9 forms? When do you have to stop using the old Banner 8 forms, because that's probably what you're interested in, right? As Nader was talking about all this stuff, he's talking about these mods. We have modifications that, from a technical perspective, we have to deal with. The technology that the Banner 9 applications are based on is very different from the technology that the Banner 8 applications are based on. And due to a constraint of resources, we are really trying to do our best to remove the modifications that we currently have. Because if we don't, that means we're going to have to re-add those mods to all of these new applications coming our way. And it's just going to be incredibly tough to do that. So we've been reaching out to different departments, as Nader talked about, to see what we can do to remove some of these modifications. One of the mods has to do with student level. So currently, our students are assigned different levels. You've got AD, you've got UG, you've got NU, you've got NG, you've got GR, all these levels. One of the things that we're looking to do is remove the NG and the NU level and replace it with an ND level, just a non-degree level for students. And then we'd have an attribute and a degree program that would distinguish non-degree graduates from non-degree undergraduates. The reason I'm bringing this up and kind of going down to the weeds is because if any of you in here see that as a problem, please come talk to us afterwards. We need to get your information. And we'll have a separate meeting to kind of tell you what our approach to all that would be. Bottom line is we're trying to remove all these mods. We're trying to reach out to the departments that we know to reach out to. Again, if you are a department that we haven't been able to reach out to, or your parent department has not filtered this information down to you, please come talk to us afterwards. We can see what we can do to address any concerns. So, rollout approach. Sir, you asked a little bit, like, how do we plan on doing this? Well, how are we going to go about handling all this? So what we've figured out is that we can continue to allow access to Banner the way that all of you guys currently access Banner. Okay? You click on a URL in the morning and that Java applet or the Oracle Forms applet pops up. We can continue to allow access to that in parallel with allowing access to the new Banner 9 forms. So it is our intention to work with departments. For example, we'd like to move forward with accounts receivable after their busy period at the end of October. Accounts receivable usually works with the forms that start with T. Does anybody in this department ever also work with those forms? Probably not. Okay?
There's one back there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we'd like to work with them and you. 2, 1, turn on all the forms that begin with T in the new Banner 9 admin application. Also leave those forms available in the Banner 8 IMB forms that you guys are used to using. And we're going to have a window of time where people can use both of the systems, both Banner 9 and both Banner 8. And then have a deadline to say, okay, on this date, we're going to disable access to the Banner 8 forms. Now, that might seem harsh, but keep in mind that all of this stuff really has to go away by the end of December 31st, 2018. So that's our plan. We've talked to a few other universities that have had issues with having parallel access, and I think with the University of Illinois, they're just doing a complete cutover to Banner 9. Right now, we're not ruling that out, but our approach right now is to allow parallel access to both of the forms for departments to kind of get familiar, find issues, report them back to us, and then as we move forward, disable access to those old forms so we get people moving more and more and more into the Banner 9 admin forms. So that's the approach that we're going to have right now. Nader showed you guys earlier. You want to go back one? I'm afraid if I touch this, the monitor's going to go off again. Will you go back to the roadmap? All right, so this guy right here. So based on the departments that we've reached out to so far, it looks like these are probably the best windows of time to implement the Banner 9 admin forms. So here at the end of this year, we're looking at the accounts receivable forms, okay? And then February 2018, boom, 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 we've got a bunch. Human resources, general, student, and position control, okay? So we'd be looking to start allowing people to get in, to have access to those Banner 9 forms in production, test, and then probably by this time next year in the summer, we'd be looking to close that gap and cut off access to those old Banner 8 forms. That's our hope. What's going to happen in reality? We'll see.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know we're scratching the surface, but I just want to mention one thing, just to have you guys confident in the process that we're doing. When we meet with different office, we don't just go and meet with them and saying, oh, what is your business cycle? I take with me a business analyst, and if the office is not documenting their business process, we will do it to be able to see what kind of enhancement. What we also do with them is the module that you have in here, we have process before and after that module, depends on the module. So we document all of them to be able to enhance the way you are doing business as of today. The system Banner 8, and I was in here when it was initially implemented, back in 2000, I can't remember, 4, we have about 10 years in Banner 8, and we did stuff that we shouldn't be doing in Banner 8 the way it should be. So Banner 9, one of the challenges for us, it's not just to upgrade, it's to enhance the way we are doing business in here. Yeah, go ahead.
Will we have the same roles? Will we have to redo all our roles?
Absolutely. So we have Val Martinez, and we're gonna keep her involved in every modules. And the quick answer to your question is no, we should have the same rules, but we will be actually viewing that and reviewing that, including the security team, the BSA team, the Banner System Analyst team. So again, we're not just deploying, that's why it's a little bit complicated to go and move to Banner 9. We're just trying to enhance the way we are doing business. And now is a good time to do so. Otherwise, we will go back to the old business or the bad habits that we used to have, or we have right now. Go ahead.
I believe on an earlier slide, it showed the finance area had 46 mods. And you had said something about trying to change our processes rather than recreate those mods.
After discussions with Adam Weeks, the chart of accounts application that you guys had that was built with the Banner forms, sounds like that's either going away or it's going to be demised. And in addition to all of the other forms that you guys have, like, I forget what they were, but it sounds like Chrome River has replaced the functionality of those forms. After talking with him, it actually sounds like that 46
Most
is
of
it.
them were Chrome River related.
Is now down to 0,
And
which is good news.
I know it's a little bit scary when we say eliminate. We usually don't use that term. We use kind of like review and analyze what you have and then, enhance. Eliminate is a harsh word, I know, but this is what we have been doing. I know we're running out of time. I'm so excited to be in here and presenting the information. So to Stirling, we have been working very hard till now to be able to come up with the roadmap, to meet with different offices and such. So if you have any question, I know you guys are rushing to go to lunch.
And Nader, can I say just one more
Yeah,
thing?
go ahead.
Part of the other, apologies that we had technical issues here, part of the other piece of this presentation was to kind of give you guys an update on the registration self-service application that we want to move forward with. Our goal is to do a soft go live here in the later part of the summer, and then we'll do an actual go live where students register for spring classes in November using the new application. We're currently having some problems working through trying to truly implement that application because of mods that we have. The new Banner 9 self-service application doesn't have the code that our current Banner 8 self-service registration has because of these mods. And that's one of the reasons we're trying to roll back these mods and go back to baseline so that when we get all these great new things from the vendor, we don't have to try to, re-add our modifications. So that's kind of where we are in regards to registration. I don't think I have anything else. Those are our email addresses. If you guys have questions, please feel free to email us. And also, we'll stay up here for a little bit if you guys have direct questions.
I also have business cards. If you guys are interested to meet with us individually, I will be more than happy. I will give you one. There's one booked right there. So take this back to your team. Think about it. And if you have any questions, please either email us or come and get one of my business cards so we can go back and follow up with you. Again, thank you so much for joining the session, and hopefully we'll have more information later on with you. Thank you.